Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the Craftsy Product Showcase, where we are bringing you several products that you may or may not have heard of, be talking about them, about their features, and you're going to get to see videos of them in action. So I'm joined in the studio today by crafter extraordinaire, Craftsy contributor, and owner of OEA Studios, Emily Steffen. Thank you so much for being here, Emily.
Yes, this is going to be super great. I'm very excited to see all these products in action.
Absolutely.
And watch the demonstrations and talk about them and answer questions and just be amongst the crafty community.
Absolutely. It's always great. And speaking of that, we are live. So if you're watching live, if you have any questions about these products, type them into the comments below this video. Any questions at all, at any point during the video, we can always, if we've moved on to another product, we can always go back if you think of something. And if you have a question, odds are somebody else may be wondering the same thing. So
spoken like a true teacher.
Exactly. So type those questions in. So should we get started with our first product?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start with the Bernina 38. So the Bernette 38 is this fantastic little machine, and there's so many things about this machine that are fabulous, and it all adds up to a machine that is just versatile and is the machine that I find living on my sewing desk. It's just the machine that stays there, that does everything I need it to. And I love, first of all, the size of this machine. It is perfect for my sewing space. I don't know about you, but my sewing space is a little smaller than I would like it to be.
Or even if it is big, there's always a ton of things going on.
Exactly, exactly. So it's just a great size for moving on and off your sewing desk. If you're switching between machines, if you switch from your serger to your sewing machine, it's nice to have something that's easily movable. It's great to travel with. I'm traveling to the studio a lot, so if you're going to, sewing classes, it's a great machine to travel with, but it does so much. It's got a ton of built-in stitches. It's got a ton of fabulous features, which I'll go through everything in a video that's going to play. But I think maybe my favorite, I hesitate to say my favorite because I have many favorite features of this machine, but it's the automatic thread cutter for me.
Yeah,
love that on a machine,
yes.
Honestly. And it seems like a small thing, but like I said, it adds up to something that will, be your favorite machine. So, the Bernette 38 I had a great time working on this machine, and it's very sturdy. I will say that. Like some machines, you can kind of move on your sewing desk and slide. I've got wheels on my sewing chair, and I went to try to slide this machine, and I just pushed myself back.
Not the machine.
Whoa, it's very sturdy. So there's just something that I noticed about the machine that is it feels really nice. So I do have, let me see if we have any questions yet.
This feels like a machine that is small but mighty, which I think is a big deal. I'm eager to hear about all the features, because I feel like oftentimes when you come across small machines, it lacks the features. It's like you have to kind of take one or the other, or trade some things for other things, right? Like where the size is convenient, but maybe it doesn't have all the features. So I love that you're saying that it has everything you need.
It does.
Because that's a big deal in a machine, especially if you're traveling or if you don't have a big space, that's a big deal.
For sure. Versatile, you get the best of both worlds, which is a huge thing. So getting some hellos coming in. Love to see everybody tuning in. Hellos, Pratt's Girl, San Perez. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, type them in. We would love to hear it. But we have a video of this machine in action that I want to show you, and maybe that'll drum up some questions or some more talking points. So we're going to throw it over to the video, and we'll see you back here. The Bernette 38 from Bernina is a compact workhorse. It is the perfect size for traveling, or just for not taking up as much space on your sewing desk, but it doesn't give up any functionality, so you're getting the best of both worlds. The B38 has 394 built-in stitches, 67 which are decorative stitches, 8 different buttonhole stitches, and 3 different alphabets, so you can program out names and messages to stitch on your projects. And information on all those stitches is kept down here in this little tray where we have this booklet that shows a little stitch preview. So you have your utility stitches, your decorative stitches, your alphabet, which has uppercase and lowercase, numbers and special characters. We have more special characters and a Cyrillic alphabet. And in the back, you have a handy winding and threading guideline. And selecting your stitches is really easy. You can scroll through your different stitches by scrolling through your modes, and you can tell what mode you are in because this little file folder icon will appear. So mode 1 is your direct select, and you can select any of these stitches that appear on your keypad. And mode 2, in your utility stitches, you can still select any of these stitches on the keypad just by putting a 0 in front of it. And you can continue scrolling through your decorative and your alphabet stitches. And on your keypad, you also have control over your stitch width, stitch length, and we also have these memory buttons, which are useful for when you are programming your letters together for if you want to do names or messages. You can also add decorative elements to your stitch program. And continuing our tour around the machine, we have the stitch regulator slider, which regulates your speed. So you can go slower toward the minus and slide it up more toward the plus. Our double needle button is cool because when you engage that, it will automatically lock the stitch width to a certain width so you don't accidentally select a stitch that's too wide and break a needle. We have our automatic thread cutter button. I love having that on a machine. We have our needle up down button, so press it once, needle goes down, press it again, needle comes back up. We also have a locking stitch button on this machine. In addition to the back stitch, which is right here, the locking stitch takes a couple of stitches, not exactly in the same place, it'll move the fabric a little bit so that it will lock that stitch on the wrong side and it'll be really invisible. There's no extra thread that's laid down like there sometimes is in a back stitch. We also have the stitching start and stop button. So you can just press this button to start stitching and to stop. So if you aren't using the foot pedal or if you forget it somewhere, you can still stitch. And I wanted to show how you can use the automatic thread cutter button in conjunction with your locking stitch. So on any stitch that you have selected, you can press and hold your automatic thread cutter and the little scissor icon will come up on your screen. And that tells you that when you stop your stitch, it will automatically cut your thread. And the machine knows when you want the stitch to stop because you press your locking stitch button. It will lock the stitch, automatically cut the thread, and bring those thread tails to the wrong side. And it does the same thing with a decorative stitch in a slightly different way, which I thought was really cool and thoughtful. So I'm going to select my decorative stitch mode, select my decorative stitch, and apply the automatic thread cutter function. And it's starting to stitch my little leaf. And if I press my locking stitch button now, I'm in the middle of this decorative element, it's not going to lock right away. It's going to wait until it gets to the end of that decorative element, then lock the stitch and cut the thread. And brings those thread tails to the wrong side, so it makes everything super easy and smooth and flows really nicely. Continuing our tour around the machine, up here at the top we have our presser foot pressure dial, and some machines don't even allow you to take control over this function. Some machines will have a little knob that you can twist, but I really like how they did this dial because you can really tell where you're at is very clear in your numbers where you're at with that feature. Love that. And down here on our throat plate, we have lots of measurement markings, not only your typical markings that are parallel to the foot, which are your seam allowance lines, to align the raw edge of your material. We also have lines that are perpendicular to the foot for alignment, and we have our measurements up here forward on the bobbin casing cover, and even up a little bit more forward, we have these little notches right here with your typical seam allowance measurements, 1/4, 3/8, and 5/8. The more forward you can get of the needle when you're aligning the edge of your fabric, the more consistent and even you will be with your seam allowances. So I love that those are in multiple places. And we even have these lines over here, angled lines, for when you are doing corners, mitering, and you need to align those angles. The B38 comes with accessories standard, including this extension table, which is really easy to slide on. First, I'm going to take my machine bed off. I'm going to pop up these legs, and you can twist those feet to make it taller or shorter, and it just slides right on. So you can elevate your project if you have something big or bulky so that it's not pulling against the needle. You have that lifted up to the level of the needle. The B38 also comes with many more accessories, including 7 other presser feet to make whatever you're sewing nice and easy. And it also comes with a hard shell case to protect the machine while you're traveling or to protect it while it is being stored in your sewing room. Whether you're sewing on knits for garments, adding decorative elements to a project, doing a quilt, the B38 is an excellent all-around machine that can not only handle everything you want to throw at it, but it makes it smooth and easy so that you can focus on the joy of creating. So there you have some more info on the B38. And I talked about this in the video, but it's something that I wanted to point out again because I love it so much. And it's all the measurements on the throat plate. And not only the seam allowance measurements, but the measurements for, you know, you've got your angles, and you've got a 1/4 inch line before and after the needle position. So if you're mitering something and you have to stop a 1/4 inch from the next edge, you have that right there. And you don't have to, you know, mark it on your fabric or anything. It's just built right in, and it makes things so much easier for you.
I feel like that's super impressive because that isn't on all small, mighty machines like this. Because I feel like machines that come in this size are often really just, they don't have all the features that like you would need if you're not just beginner or entry level, which is enormous for this. I also, I have to say, you mentioned the thread cutter. I know that feels so silly, but I just got it. We were just saying, I just got a thread cutter on my machine, the most recent machine I had, and this one has one. And truthfully, it is one of those little tiny things that you push the button and you're like, oh, my thread is cut.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
It
like,
totally does.
It saves time. It'll save a little bit of thread in the long run. And you know, I love that you hit that and it's cut and the threads are already on the wrong side. So it's just beautifully smooth. And then you can go on to the next step.
That's awesome.
Anything that's going to make things easier in the sewing room, easier and smoother, because we've all got 1,000 things going on outside of the crafting and sewing room. So make it easy on yourself, and something that lets you just go, flow, next step is fantastic.
The other thing that I thought was super cool about this machine, if I can just pipe in, is the fact that it has the hard case, the table, and all of those feet that come with it, including the buttonhole attachment.
Yes.
That's like not a thing I feel like that comes with a lot of machines. So this really does feel like, okay, this is a great machine. It's small, it's compact, but it actually has everything. It's not just one of those things that says, oh, we have everything. Like, it actually does. It's so cool, because that means you can be a quilter, you can be a garment sewer, you can be just a normal crafter, and it has the things you need without having to buy 66 different attachments that just add up. So that's, I I'm wildly impressed, truthfully wildly impressed with this machine.
One-stop shop, and I was just going to say that too, because I come from a garment sewing background, so I'm sewing clothes, and then I'm sewing bags and accessories, and starting to do more quilting things. So I have found, there's nothing that I've found, oh, I wish this had this. It's just been fantastic for all of the different things.
Super cool.
We do have a question coming in. Are the guts of the machine metal or plastic? And I haven't had to open this up at all, but you know, there's a screw in the back here. I'm guessing you could, but just from the way the machine feels, it's not like terribly heavy, but it's very hefty. It's sturdy. I'm guessing it's metal, but I haven't looked inside. We're getting some hellos, Kimberly from Virginia, Gina from Western Kansas. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we have another question. Julia, what's the price point on the B38? Price point is $9.99. So you get so much packed into this little package, and I think it's just a fantastic, you know, all-around machine for that price point. We have the Bernette 38 features metal internal frame with a plastic outer casing. There we go. Thank you so much for putting that into the chat.
Love it.
Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Colleen. Thank you guys for tuning in. So if you have any more questions about the B38, please do send them in. I've just been so impressed by the machine, the presser foot pressure dial up here as well. I have found myself using that, you know, going between sewing garments to sewing knit garments to sewing, you know, denim duffel bags and just everything in between. You have that control over that feature. So fantastic. But we are going to move on unless you have any other notes.
I love that machine. That's great. Okay. That's great.
We have more products here that we want to get to show you though. And the next product is the Cutterpillar Lightboard, which is so fabulous. But Emily, you had a chance to work with this, so why don't you tell us something about it?
This is one of those things where you're like, I did not even know I needed this until I saw it in action, and I played with it a little bit, and I'm telling you, this is probably, I'm not just saying this, probably one of my more favorite tools that I've gotten my hands on that you're like, haha, this is so cool. Because I'll talk way more about this in the video and show you kind of a project from start to finish when we roll the video, but the basic overview of it is this. It's not just a light board. It has the ability to be a light board, a cutting surface, an ironing surface, and if you're not just a crafter with fabrics, it can be something that's used for just lighting, paper, paint, cutting in any realm. It's not just like a sewing realm with fabrics. So I'm wildly excited for you to see this demoed because I got it in the mail and I played with it and you're like, okay, this is really cool. It is even cooler to use because it's one of those, like, the features are endless. You can use it in multiple different ways. The surfaces that they offer, from the tempered glass to this kind of healing matte cutting surface, is just like, oh, I can use it for that. Oh, I can use it for paper. Oh, I can use it for fabric. Oh, I can use it for denim, or I can use it for thicker materials. I can use it. I used felt, 100% wool felt, and 50-50 and 70-30 wool felt in the video that you're gonna see. So why don't we watch that quickly and then we can come back and talk more about the features, because I'm sure I could just go on and on, but let's watch the video quickly first. I have a new product that I'm so excited to share with you. It is called the Cutterpillar Glow Premium 2 Lightboard, and it will illuminate your craft projects, make things super easy to do, and show you how to intricately cut everything to make this project come to life. Your Cutterpillar Lightboard comes with this glow bag, which I love because it makes portable crafting so much easier with your Lightboard. It comes with a great handle, it comes with lots of pockets and things on the outside. It's thoroughly padded so you don't have to worry about breaking anything as you're putting all of your supplies in your car for your craft weekend or your girls' weekend away or any traveling that you need to do. And there's also space for all of your extra add-on mats that you may have, or glass surfaces which you may have, which I will show you how to use. And I absolutely love how slim and portable the design of this is, because let me show you. It has up to 4 hours of battery life on the lithium-ion battery, which means that you're not tied to a wall or a plug-in.
I love that feature because that just makes crafting a heck of a lot easier. And there's 4 different brightnesses, which is so cool when you touch the Cutterpillar Pro on. There is a different brightness setting for whatever fabric you're going to use. And then the other cool thing is that there is a tempered glass add-on. This glass you lay right on top, and this tempered glass is 10 times stronger than regular glass, which makes it, get this, that I can iron right on this surface. I'll take my iron and I'm gonna flip it over and I'm iron right on this surface. It's recommended that you don't keep your iron on the glass surface for probably more than about 30 seconds, but I'm gonna tell you, you don't need it any longer than that, because the only thing that you kind of have to think about is making sure that this glass piece doesn't get too hot. But I mean, it does not get hot at all. I'm not using any steam. I'm just using the heat setting on my little mini iron here, which is the perfect addition to this Lightboard. So, okay, this is enough for this little flower. And now I'm just gonna kind of continuously work by kind of guessing how much fabric I need, which is maximizing, not putting too much interfacing on the back of different fabric types, because I've had that issue before where you're kind of wasting fabric and wasting interfacing, but this cuts that down and makes everything a little bit more useful and easy to lay out. And how cool that I'm able just to iron right on this surface. The other thing I noticed about this tempered glass surface is this. Sometimes interfacing has, the gluey kind of part melts a little bit, because if you see, you can kind of see that I have a part of my interfacing that overlaps. This glass surface is so cleanable. What I can't just kind of like wipe off with a damp rag, I can easily just grab a razor blade and just kind of easily razor off. So any glues, you can even use paint on here if you're wanting to transfer, if you weren't wanting to make like this specific pattern into a canvas to frame or something. It's because it's a glass surface, it is so washable, wipeable, and cleanable that I don't think that there's much to really worry about with this glass surface. You can kind of do a lot on it, and I think ironing is one of those amazing things. Okay, so I have this section, and there's another section, so I'll do these 2 in blue, and then maybe a couple more small ones, which are the same size as this leaf right here. So I can kind of measure and go, okay, this leaf is here. And there's also the other thing I should note too is I'm measuring. It might feel like I'm kind of guessing, but I'm actually not guessing as much as you think, because on the tempered glass mat right here, there's the grid. And so I'm able to kind of see, okay, this is 1 inch wide by kind of 2 inches with a curvy line. So I'm able to kind of measure a little bit more maybe than it seems like I am because of the grid that's on here, which is also really helpful. This is almost like one of those work surfaces that's everything all in one. No more ironing mat needed, no more pressing mat, no more cutting surface, because I'm going to show you how we're able to cut also right on the Lightboard. So cool. And then you make it really more successful because we'll be able to lay everything out perfectly. One other thing to note too, as I'm thinking of this, I am using 100% wool felt. Actually, 2 of the colors I believe are a wool polyester blend, like the 80-20 wool polyester blend, because the heat from this iron could potentially melt full polyester wool, or excuse me, full polyester felt. So most of them are all wool. This pink right here I know is the 80-20 blend, and so is this purple. And it's not melting at all. It's great. It's an awesome, I love it. I love felt. I use a lot of felt because it's very tactile, and I feel like the colors are vibrant and beautiful. Okay, so now that all of my fabric has my interfacing on it, I'm gonna move the fabric off to the side, take my tempered glass piece off, and now just use it as a traditional Lightboard, which in other cases, I would have had to walk my pieces over to the window and hold it up or somehow concoct a flashlight situation, but this makes it so easy. So the one thing I am gonna do, which is not typical, but I'm gonna do this just because I have really thick felt and some of it is full wool felt, so it's really thick. I'm gonna pre-peel off my paper backing. Sometimes people don't like to do this because when you have this extra paper backing of interfacing, if you're using something lighter weight like linen or normal cotton, the paper backing gives sturdiness to your interfacing. So when you're ironing and you're cutting, you get a lot more precise sort of cuts and corners because it's just kind of a lot more sturdy. With the felt, it's not necessary, and I'm gonna remove this bulk so that I easily can see, here, let me show you, with all of these options, I easily can see my lettering underneath. This is where having fingernails works. So I easily can see, look at where I can see my flowers and my lettering underneath where I want to trace. So now is kind of the super fun part where I have all of my fabrics ready to go, and I'm just gonna use this as a traditional lightboard, laying everything out. But again, the cool thing in all of this is that I'm able to maximize my fabric space by moving things over and up and around so that each one of the colors that I've cut, I can get as many flowers or circles or leaves out of it as possible when I'm laying it all out. So I'm gonna trace with my marker, and then we'll get to cutting after that. Okay, now that I've finished tracing out my leaves and all of my flowers, maximizing my ironed interfacing felt, where I'm able to get all my flowers on here in the exact position that I want to. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with my larger piece of fabric for all of the letters in the center of my graphic here. I'll just use my marker and trace it, and then we'll move on to our next step of cutting. So now that everything is traced, my flowers and my lettering, I'm gonna grab my dual grip self-healing cutting mat. This thing is amazing because it covers the entire work surface, this 13 by 19 work surface of our Lightboard, and I'm able to cut directly on it. It's a little bit textured, so it'll grip the fabric so nicely. I'm gonna keep my Lightboard on because I wanna see really clearly where these lines are at, because I don't know about you, sometimes when you're cutting, and you're trying to see these intricate pieces, having this extra light is kind of a big deal, I feel like, for cutting things like this. I'm gonna use both scissors and my rotary. And for cutting out these curves, this grippy texture is gonna be key. I tested it a little bit ago and I'm so excited about it because the felt itself has a little bit of kind of tooth to it, and then the grippy part of this mat is making it even more amazing and slip resistant to cut on, where I'm able to cut out these little pieces, toss them aside. This makes it so easy. Now that I have all my letters cut out, I'm gonna move my cutting mat to the side, bring my pattern back onto the Lightboard and my background canvas fabric, and look it's now gonna illuminate the exact composition of where I want my letters to be, so there's no guessing in how I'm gonna place everything. There's no guessing in how this all has to be laid out. There's no guessing in the shapes or the sizes because it's all right here, already cut, already centered, already laid out, so that all we have to do is transfer our pieces to get them exactly where we want them to be from what we've cut. Okay, so my flowers are laid out, which looks really good. Now I'm onto my lettering. Okay, now that all my letters are on here, I'm gonna line everything up. I probably could adjust this all till it's just perfect forever and ever, amen. But what I'm gonna do is slowly and carefully slide off my canvas, leaving my Lightboard on because I still want that glowy, amazing, easy to see surface underneath, and leaving my pattern there, but I'm gonna add my tempered glass back on top. I'm still able to see my pattern through it, but this tempered glass surface, remember, is what gives us the ability to use our iron to iron and fuse together our felt to my canvas because there's that layer of interfacing. So since our tempered glass is underneath, I'm just going to slowly, with my little iron, start gently pressing. And remember, pressing is leaving the iron on for a few seconds. It's not the ironing back and forth that you do when you're ironing clothing. And I have no steam on because that's just not necessary for a project like this. And I'm just gonna start setting everything in place so that that interfacing that's between the layers of my felt and my canvas gets nice and melty and acts like glue so that it all sticks together. And then our last step after this is to put it in a frame and see how it all looks. So this is how everything turned out, and I think it turned out so beautiful. I loved how easy everything was to cut, how easy it was to lay out with this beautifully lit surface. It was shining brightly, so I was able to lay everything out, cut everything precisely, and it turned out just wonderful. The Cutterpillar Glow Premium 2 Lightboard is something that I'm thrilled to have in my studio, and I hope today inspired you to go check out the product and make one of these beautiful boards yourself.
What a cool product. I'm so jealous that you got to work with this, to be honest with you. And like you said, it's one of those things that you might not think about having in your sewing room, but there have definitely been times when I've been taping stuff onto my window.
Oh my gosh, we've all been there. For something small or large and you're moving it around the whole ding-ding window.
Trying to hold it up to the window.
And trace at the same time.
Yeah.
It's kind of a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was massively impressed. In full transparency, I have a Lightboard at home that's from college, and it's this thick, chunky, giant, kind of clunky thing that uses batteries. Or if you don't have the batteries, because I never have the batteries, that has a cord about this long. So for no other reason than, for no other feature, the fact that this is so thin, like so thin, it's thinner than like a tablet, which I am so impressed with. It's really lightweight. And the fact that you can charge it and it actually stays charged with how bright that surface is I think so cool. And then add on all these different mats you can put on it for the different features is like, chef's kiss at how amazing it is.
Yes, and these are a whole other thing that I want to talk about, but just this being easy to move around, because like you said, outlets are never conveniently placed for plugging things in. So to have that cord free, be able to move it around, it's thin, it is lightweight, and it does so much. You know, it's so much more than just a lighted surface. You've got your cutting surface, the gridded cutting surface, and your ironing surface. So instead of having, you know, your cutting mat and your ironing mat and your Lightboard and your iron and whatever else, your sewing machine, it's all right here.
Yeah.
And you can move from one step to the next. Again, we're making things easier for ourselves in our sewing room, and I just love that.
The other thing that I noticed too about the tempered glass surface is that if you're not just a fabric person, if you are a painter, or if you're a drawer, or if you have kids that like to draw or paint, or even if you're doing like diamond art or other sort of things that are kind of a little bit meticulous, this surface, this tempered glass surface, this one right here, which is the clear glass that has the feet on it, this is the surface that I think makes this a complete game changer, because this is the surface that I ironed on in the video, but also with a simple wipe of a cloth, or even like a razor blade if you're using oil paints, you can clean this surface with almost anything that you use. So even if it's glues and you're doing like a paper piecing thing together, like this is so cool, because maybe it's just because I'm older and have bad eyes, I don't know. But anytime, like, maybe, amen if you agree.
Well.
But when you're lighting a surface and you're using something intricate, it just like, it makes it so much easier. So not only is this convenient for the tracing piece of things and all of like that actual crafting handiness, this is honestly one of those products that you're like, yep, I'll use that for this and that and this, and for painting and for tracing or for paper products. And I mean, I just made these like little, I don't even know what they were, like locker tag things for my son's baseball thing. And of course, I did this design with this intricate little lacing, and this makes it like literally a line of glue, and even if you get glue on the thing, you can wipe it off later, stick it on there, and bada bing, bada boom, and you're off.
Easy.
So I think it's just like, it is truthfully one of those products that's super cool.
Yeah, good lighting is a must for everything. And yeah, and once you get it in your sewing room, it's like you'll find even more uses for it. Like I was telling Emily during the break, reverse applique. You know, normally
yes.
I'm printing my template, I'm cutting it out, I'm putting it on my fabric, I'm tracing around it, and then I get to move to the next step. But with this, you can put your template on, put your fabric on, and just trace it, and it eliminates so many steps, which I love. So we do have some questions. What are the dimensions of the lighted area?
So you can see that's a good question, because you can see the board itself is a little bit bigger. I don't know if you can see this. The board itself is bigger just because it has the touchscreen button right over here. But the actual dimensions of the lighted area, which is the same dimensions as a tempered glass surface, is 12 by 16. So
nice big area.
Super big. And the cool thing is every one of the extras, so the tempered glass surface or the cutting surface, also has all of the gridded marks. It has angled marks, it has half-inch marks, it has centimeters and inches, so metric, and all the different measurements you want, 45-degree angle, 70-degree angle, 30-degree angle, all the things that you would want. And I think that's also great.
Yeah, and it has, not only your inch marks, but it's got half-inch lines, it's got quarter-inch lines all the way across.
Yep, for both
helpful.
of these surfaces.
Yeah.
I do have to say, this is what I love about being part of a community. I poked over at the comments over here, and Larissa said, I always trace on my heat and bond and then iron it onto my fabric. I think you just blew my mind,
Great
Larissa.
idea.
This is why being a part of a crafty community is amazing, because she said that and I'm going, oh my gosh, yeah, why didn't I think of that sooner?
That makes sense, yeah.
But either way, I guess you can light the crafty bond, the heat and bond, or you can light felt with the light table. So it's great. It's great.
That's a great thing about sewing and crafting, is there's never only one way to do things, but it's great to share that knowledge. So
yes.
We also have a question. Julia says, do you know if the Cutterpillar glow could be used to mark quilting patterns on a quilt? And we both agreed, absolutely. You could totally use it for that.
Yeah, depending on how big it is, obviously you might have to move your quilt around depending on, I don't know if you're marking it for a long arm to quilt or if you're just marking kind of straight lines. But either way, I find that this surface is big enough for sure for a quilt block, if not more, and any smaller project for sure. And you just maybe need to move it around depending on how much you need to mark up. But absolutely this would shine through. I haven't tested on an actual, the 3 layers of quilt, the backing, the batting, and the top, but I can't imagine you wouldn't get something shining through there for sure through the top layer.
Yeah, even if you just put the top on, get your template lines, and you could definitely see through that.
Absolutely.
And then we have some questions about where to get information about the product. So below this video, there will be links for each of the products we're talking about. You can click on those links and be brought to the product pages and get more info on that, on those pages. So definitely check those out as well. And then Gina asks, what are the dimensions of the whole machine? So including the outer edges?
I believe it's 13 by 19 is the dimensions of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Which also brings me to the point that I feel like it's large enough to do your project, but it's also small enough to be able to transport. And it comes with this amazing case, which at first I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then the more I thought about it, I am like, that's really cool, because it's super padded. You can throw all your accessories in here. There's extra spaces for cords or anything else that you'd want to throw in here. There's a space that's completely padded for the tempered glass. It has like how a laptop padding has the foamy kind of protective padding. So you 100% could just throw this in your car if you're going on a crafting trip, or if you want to bring it to do something with your kids or your girlfriends or something for the night or weekend or day or whatever you're doing. It's super transportable, so it's big enough to do a project, but small enough where it's not taking up your whole car or taking up your whole table or something, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and the carrying case is great too, for even if you're not carrying it somewhere, just for storage.
Yeah, 100%.
Keep everything together, slide it somewhere in your crafting room, and that way when you need it, it's all right there.
That's awesome.
Love that. Gina says, thank you. I'm looking for lighting to go behind a stained glass work. Well, that sounds beautiful. This would be great for that.
Awesome.
All right, so if we don't have any more questions, and of course, if you think of a question about the Cutterpillar, please type that in, even if we are on to the next product, which, do we have any other, I had a question about this. How do you charge this? So battery life is great, but it just comes with a cord.
Comes with a cord.
Just like
with a little USB deal. Super easy. The little, attaching little Velcro deal. And all you do is plug it in, also really long cord, which I appreciate.
Super nice.
So if you're somebody like me who never has devices charged, you still have a long enough cord if you need to be tethered to a wall. But it just plugs in. Here, I'll show you.
I love that. And it's just
here.
The
Super
USB
easy.
cord, you can just use it,
Yep.
a block.
Yep. Ta-da.
That's great.
Just like charging every one of our devices
Exactly.
these days. Super easy. And it actually charges, I feel like, really fast. I don't know the ins and outs of ion batteries, but I feel like it charged fully really fast, and it's maintained battery life really well on the highest, the brightest setting.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I love that product. And Julia asks, what is the price point? Do you know off the top of your head, or are we going?
But in the product list, if you click,
Yes.
like you said, in the below of the video here, that should have all the details as well as links to purchase, or even just like look into it to get your excitement flowing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's see if we have any more questions. Julia says it would be a Lightboard. Yes. Putting Henry stencils and then marking with a chalk pencil or marker.
Oh,
yes.
absolutely, you could do that.
Absolutely.
100%.
That sounds great.
Chalk markers are really great because they're erasable.
Yeah.
In case something happens, you can erase them easy.
Always good to be able to do that. Okay, so we are going to move on to our final product, which is this fabulous little box that is the So Steady Elevate Quilt Club box. And this little box was so fun to get in the mail. So it's a subscription box. And, you know, I feel like those subscription boxes for anything, you know, have become kind of popular in the last couple of years. I haven't subscribed to any, but I gotta say, getting this in the mail was so fun. It's like getting a care package from somebody who knows you, because it's this very carefully curated box of quilting and crafting and sewing goodies. There's, you know, the template rulers and so many different projects, not only quilt centric, but also some different types of projects. So there's, you know, an applique project in here, and we've got a couple of different blocks. So full instructions for things, and you also get the fabric as well. So they send the fabric to create one of these blocks, and it's this really pretty pink, blue, green, very springy, because this is the Q2 box, which is spring. So it's all sort of centered around spring and these beautiful springy colors. So you get the fabric, and there's, you know, a little thread sampler in there, and I go through absolutely everything in the video you're going to see. But I love that, you know, it's not about, or it's not all about finishing your quilts, even though that's, you know, they want to help you finish your quilts. I know that's a thing, but it's inspiring too. It's inspiring you to get in your sewing room and to get back to creativity and creating, and just opening up this box and having the fabric and the instructions and the thread and the ruler and the foot. It's all in here. And so you can just open it up and one day just say, I'm gonna do this. And even if you've got, you know, 1,000 other things going, which we all do, you can create something, and that's gonna lead to more creativity. So this box it's been really fun to go through and to, you know, practice my quilting with the template rulers, but also do applique projects and the paper piecing project. So you can, you know, branch out into some different areas of creativity as well, for using your beautiful fabrics that you've got in your stash. But I want to show you absolutely everything that is in this box. So we're going to throw it over to the video, and then we'll come back and talk more about it. Getting an Elevate Quilt Club box in the mail is like Christmas every quarter. This subscription box from So Steady is called the Get It All box, because I get embroidery designs, quilting template rulers, and so many projects and patterns to keep me inspired and keep me sewing. So let me show you what's in it. First, we have some information here, some codes to scan for coupons and information on what's in the box. And this is a education schedule. So they do live classes that take you through each of the projects in this box. So if you can't watch live, of course, these will all be available for you to watch after the fact, streaming on demand whenever you want. So they'll walk you through everything and they won't leave you hanging on anything. They'll be able to answer any questions. If you watch live, you can interact with the instructor, which is really cool. So getting into the projects, we have all the instructions to make this pretty clover block. We have a foundation paper pieced project, which if you've never done foundation paper piecing, you'll be able to complete this project because they have the full instructions written out here and all the templates included. So you can find some new techniques to try and keep you inspired, keep you doing different things. We have embroidery designs. So on this stick, I have 115 embroidery designs in different formats, different sizes, so I can achieve all of these shapes using my embroidery machine. This project has a panel of fabric inside. So it has this fabric and it has this quilting template ruler and instructions inside for creating these stitching lines using the ruler and your machine. This project is really cool, this applique project. So we have full instructions, the templates for the flower pots, and the applique pieces for those flowers, some pretty buttons to add, and full instructions for then creating the decorative stitching lines on those flowers. So the spring panel scene is really pretty. And then we have this circle crosshair ruler and some information on how to use that. And this is great for marking radial designs. So to make sure you are cutting something up or marking something evenly. And I'll show you how we use that in a little bit. We have the decorative thread ruler foot, which mine's already on my machine, but this is designed to work with their quilting template rulers. It can also be used to add decorative thread onto your project, which is pretty cool. We have some couching thread from Wonderfill, and one of those spools is already on my machine. So you can play around with some of those different fun sparkly threads. And I have some spring flowers. So this is the Q2 box, which is spring. So they've included some spring flower seeds rather, to add around your house for a pop of color, which I thought was really cute. And then lastly, we have the instructions to create this arrow block. So every quarter, each box is limited edition and it will have a block in it. And this block for Q2 is the arrow block. So we have instructions on creating the block and instructions on using this ruler to create these decorative stitching designs on the block. And here's my ruler, and they even provide the sticky back, some of the sticky back material to go on the back of your ruler to grip the fabric as you are moving that around. So here's my block, and they provide all of the fabric in the box to create this block as well. So all of the fabric for the piecing, the binding, and the backing all comes in your box. And the fabric that will come in your Q2 box, if you get this box, will be a little bit different. There will be a really pretty sage, geometric, and a nice peach floral that goes really well together. And you can see I've already marked some of my marks on my block for my decorative stitching, and this is where you'll use your circle ruler. You'll line that up to mark the center, And then my stitching lines here, my piecing lines are kind of 4 of my radial marks. And then you can spin that and align the 45-degree line on your seams or your previously marked lines, if you're marking those lines, and then mark these 4 lines to get this perfectly cut up into 8 sections. So I'm going to take this block over to my machine and show you how to use this ruler to achieve some pretty petal decorative stitching. So I've got my ruler foot on my machine, and I've brought my bobbin thread up. So I'm going to put my needle down in the center, and I have my feed dogs lowered, so I'm doing my free motion stitching. And I'm going to slide my ruler on and nest it right there in the start position. And we have center marks on our ruler, so we want to line that up on all 4 quadrants. So I'm lining that up with my seams, and as I stitch, I'm going to drive my foot around to A and then bring it back to B. So the movement of the speed that I drive my ruler notes my stitches. So I'm stopping at B with my needle down, and then I'm going to spin my ruler so that my foot is at A again, and I have my marks to align with the marks on my block, and I'm going to drive around to the start position and then back up to B. And again, I'm going to spin my ruler, and I'm going to continue going around until I achieve all of my petals. After I've stitched all of my petals, I can come back in and use my ruler to stitch little veins in each of the leaves of the flower, or each of the petals of the flower, to add even a little bit more decorative detail. So here is my block with my beautiful flower stitched on, and each of my petals is perfectly aligned with the next thanks to that ruler and those markings and all the markings on this template that helped me just swivel that around and achieve all of these beautiful petals. So check out the Elevate Quilt Club box from So Steady and enjoy a curated selection of quilting and crafting goodies that will keep you inspired, keep you creating, and make each quarter feel like a new adventure. So the box was super fun to dive into and to see all the different projects that they packed in here for you to play around with. And each box is going to be totally unique. So it's a quarterly box. Like I said, this is the Q2 spring box. And if you're interested in getting this, June 18th, this box is going to be retired. So they're all limited edition boxes for the quarter that they run, and you can see the schedule. If you click that link down below this video, you can see the schedule of each quarter's box. And each quarter you'll get new projects, you'll get new quilt blocks to try, and different fun projects. And in this one it was all spring, so they sent flower seeds. How fun is that? I was so excited.
A box of surprises.
I know, exactly. Love getting things in the mail when they're not bills, of course. So it's like you open it up and it's all this fun new stuff to try.
I love that it has the rulers. Like,
yeah.
I was thinking when I first, heard of this idea, yeah, cool, you get the the paper and the ideas, but they send the fabric and the rulers. That to me is worth it, because how many times have we seen a project online, you're like, oh, I have the fabric for that, I can figure it out, I can make it, I can download the pattern, but then all the extras, that's what gets you. And it has the extras, which is so cool.
It's a fantastic value in these boxes. So I got this ruler, which you saw in action, and then there's this one as well to do these shapes, and then there's this panel of fabric in there as well. So it's just a fantastic value and really fun. So for whether you're a dedicated quilter or you're just, trying it out, you get something to try out. And you get also the support, because they do live videos going through all of these projects. And I always love a live video because you can communicate directly with the instructor and you get your questions answered, you share ideas, but of course you can always then watch them after the fact, like I said in the video. So you get, you get to be walked through the box and the projects. And I think that's just great. And there's so much more education. If you check out So Steady, they've got tons and tons of videos. So it's really fun and really cool. So I'm gonna check if we have any other questions.
The other thing about this box that I think is awesome is thinking like a creative. I'm sure you maybe are the same, get in a creative slump often.
Yeah.
And this right here would be a super cool solution. Whether you're gifting it to a friend or getting it for yourself, the fact that you're like, how many times do we think we want to start something, or we start something, we don't finish it, or you're just not inspired by it, or you don't know what to start, or you have lots of ideas but don't know where to begin. This is a super cool way just to go, okay, there's no end goal besides just finishing. And that sometimes can just break you out of your mental creative block, for me anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I give myself a task that is outside of what I normally do, or that's something new, or that's something that feels like, I don't know how to use that, or this is brand new to me, and all of a sudden it's like, yep, I can go back to what I'm doing after I finish this thing because this has inspired me, or this is translated into something that I'm trying to finish, and that technique I just learned there, I can use that for this. So that to me is like, okay, that's endless and really cool. Worth it for something like this.
Yes.
And also a really cool gift idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, creativity definitely begets creativity. And if you are overwhelmed with, trying to find your next project, there's a gazillion projects out there, but, then you're choosing the fabric, and then you are, finding the instructions and making sure you understand the instructions. You get the fabric provided. You get the clear, concise instructions provided, and then of course there's support if you need it. So it can really cool. Yeah, it can point you in a direction and then see where you go from there. So I had a ton of fun going through all of these different projects. So I really loved it. And the possibilities with those quilting rulers is just endless as well. The different shapes that you can achieve that I would never have been able to otherwise.
Unless you're a master free motion quilter.
I was so impressed. Just this tool right here, and I got this really pretty, intricate flower out of it. I was so proud of myself. It was really fun.
It is really cool.
So we did have one other question about the Bernina, which was if the arm came off, and it's our flatbed does come off, if that's what you mean, Anita, for the extension table to then get slid on, and you can watch me do that again in that video if you want to go back and watch that. But yes, that comes off so that you can then, you can do smaller things on there, sleeves and hems on kids' pants and things like that, or then you can slide that extension table on. So that does come off. So I don't see any other questions coming in. Last call for questions if you have anything about any of these products that you want us to answer. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping it up here shortly, but thank you all so much for joining us. I had a ton of fun working with these products and learning about, of course, the Cutterpillar as well, which you showed us all the ins and outs of that. So fabulous. Well, thank you again so much for watching, and thank you, Emily, for being here.
This was awesome.
This is great to be in the studio with you, our first time together in the studio.
This is inspiring just to see other products and to see how people interact with other products and ask questions and watch you work with that. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Exactly.
The crafting community is awesome.
It is, and it's always great to, you know, to see new products because there are always a bunch of products out there, and you know, you might not have heard of them, or you might not, you know, see what's the value to me. So things like this is great for showing you the practicality of it. How does it work, and how could you use it to make your sewing easier? So yeah, that was fun for me to get to use these products and to bring them to you. So with that,
I love it.
Thank you so much again for watching the Craftsy product showcase, and have a great day.
Thank you.